Here with multimedia journalist Carson Racich. How are you doing today, Carson?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. As we were talking, you've done a lot of incredible things already in golf in your career, so very excited for this interview. So yeah, can you give me the I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. So can you say, where you're from, where you live, your age, and what your current position is?
Absolutely. So I'm Carson Racich. I'm from Illinois originally, and I've had the opportunity to now go to three different places for not just golf, but school as well. I started out in Tennessee, went to Texas after that, and I'm now residing in Fort Myers, Florida, finishing up my second bachelor's degree in PGA Golf Management.
Cool. Cool. So tell me, how did you get interested in golf? How did you get started playing golf? What age did you begin playing? Tell me about, your journey to getting started playing golf,
Yeah,
growing up.
so I actually started through my grandpa. He's the one that got me introduced through what we called the Patriot Center back at home in Rockford there. And it was really just kind of like the first tee, and it stemmed into being the first tee later on. And he would pretty much just drop me off in the summers, and I would pick up a golf club and just swing and try to learn the game with a bunch of other kids in the area that were trying to find something to do in the summer. And it became something that I hated, I'm not gonna lie. And kind of the middle school area is when I started to get the bug for the game. I noticed that I didn't have the same connections as other students that I was with in school. So I kind of really just ran with it. I got bit by the bug, and it was kind of that for me. I just kind of ran as far as I could and had a goal in mind that I wanted to play Division 1, and that's what I'm going to do no matter what it took. I ended up having one of the best coaches ever decide to take me on as a student of his, and he taught me much more than just the game of golf, but how to become an even better person. And being my grandpa who got me into the game by cutting down clubs in the front yard, I mean, and wrapping them in electrical tape, that's how I started. So just him introducing me to the game, and then my coach Lloyd McWilliams taking that chance on me and really helping me develop as a person is how I got into the game of golf.
That's awesome. So you grew up in northern Illinois. You grew up, by the Illinois-Wisconsin border. So tell me about, your hometown and, what it was like growing up, in northern Illinois by the Illinois-Wisconsin border.
It's cold, that's for sure. We actually are pretty, I'd say, grateful to be able to have so many golf courses. I want to say we have 5 city courses and 3 county. I could be very wrong on those numbers, but for being up north, we didn't have a shortage on golf courses, so there was always an opportunity to play. And up there, we had really cold winters, so our seasons were very short, but we also had some facilities that allowed us to go and still work on our game. At one point, we had a place called Victory, which was just an indoor, I mean, maybe 25 yards to hit into a net, but it was better than nothing. And we would kind of put up some nets in the garage and try to hit into that. So for being very cold, we still found a way. And the summers that we had were amazing. It wasn't, brutally hot like it is down here in Florida, but it was still pretty comfortable, and we had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. So tell me, did you play junior golf or any tournaments, growing up in Illinois?
Yeah, so I actually did a lot of city tournaments. So we didn't have the money to play AJGA and IJGA, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I was told later on that that's probably the route to go, but I just knew playing in what I could is still going to benefit me for like the college scouting process. And I ended up finding a tour called the Prep Tour, which really helped me develop into a strong player. It was just getting to play with a bunch of different people from not only the state of Illinois, but we had some tournaments that would pull the IJGA in as well. So we were getting exposed to a lot of different players, and we got to play a lot of really nice courses throughout the state of Illinois. So I'm very thankful to have those. And I also had the opportunity here and there to travel for some tournaments. I got to go to Florida and play at Magnolia, which is a Disney course, and that was a lot of fun. So I definitely got exposed to a bunch of different courses and a lot of really great players and coaches just by kind of sticking to what I know, like the junior tournaments, and just playing it as much as possible. I was playing in like 3 events a week I was trying to, so a lot of filled packed summers.
Nice. So what course or courses did you play mostly growing up in Illinois? And do you have any friends that you grew up playing, golf with in Illinois?
So for me, I played a lot at our city courses. So those few were Sinisippi was a 9-hole golf course. We live right down the road from it. So my grandpa and I would go and play 9 holes before I went to school.
Okay.
And following that, I would go out after school and go to a course called Aldine, which is one of the top 50 public courses in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
At one point in time, they were. I don't know if they still are, but it's a great track, really nicely manicured course. And they had a practice facility that was open until 10 p.m. at night. So I was able to go after school and work on my game a lot. And then aside from that, just over the summers, they had all these different programs through our park district, as far as LPGA girls golf and different just park district events and clinics. So being a part of those my entire life growing up with the game of golf, that's where I met my really close friends, and I still talk to them to this day. And when I'm home or when they visit, we're always playing golf. So it's really nice that these connections are, a lifetime connection.
Nice. So you attended Harlem High School in Machesney Park, Illinois. So tell me about your high school golf career at Harlem High School.
So for me, it was a different experience for sure. When I was in middle school, we did not have a middle school golf team, and I want to say in eighth grade, hoping to try out for the high school team, but that was just something that wasn't heard of at the time. So I had to wait my turn, and when I got into my freshman year, I made varsity. We didn't have very many players as is, so it was kind of polling to make a team of five so we could, qualify to play in general. It was a little bit of a rocky experience for me, but I made the most of it and just had a lot of fun. There was at one point in time where our athletic director didn't put us down for any tournaments for the, I guess, semester or season, just because of the fact that we weren't going to produce. And I remember going into his office, handing him a receipt saying, "Here's what I signed us up for." Something I laugh about now, and I'm sure they weren't laughing then, but in my career, I ended up being Nick 10 MVP, was placing really high and stuff, was having a great experience. And I remember specifically, state was always something on my mind because we never had anyone from our school go to state, let alone even make it to sectionals. I knew that was on top of my goal list. So made that my incentive. I missed every year except for my senior year by one stroke. My senior year, I ended up qualifying and becoming the first girl from my high school to ever make it to the state tournament. So that was pretty special. And what's kind of ironic is tonight back at home, my parents are accepting a Hall of Fame award for me for that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So talk more about the, you just touched on my next question, but personally, what did it mean to you to be the first player in Harlem High School history to qualify for the state championship?
It was amazing. It was something that I kind of knew in the back of my head that was possible and something that I could attain. Although it's, you set a goal and it's not always achievable. So it took a lot of hard work and practice. I remember going into those sectional tournaments and knowing like I can do this, but missing by one stroke 3 years in a row, it was like, oh my God, am I gonna actually achieve this or not? Because it's a hard pill to
Yeah.
swallow. But
Mhm.
I just remember, gosh, that my senior year, the sectional, I want to say 45 the front nine. I just could see it slipping away. And my coach at the turn was like, "If you don't do something, I'm leaving." And I ended up shooting a few under par on the back nine and crying up on the 18th green because I knew I could three putt this green to still make it. And it was a really surreal moment. And just the whole experience at state was just amazing. So it was definitely something that not only myself, but my parents, my grandpa, my coach, but also my high school golf coach got to experience for the first time. And like I said, it was amazing.
Awesome. And congratulations on the award.
Thank
Very well
you.
deserved.
Thank you.
So your freshman year of college, you attended Tennessee State. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yep.
Tell me, how did you end up at Tennessee State and how was your freshman year at Tennessee State?
So for me, because I did not play in AJGA and IJGA, the recruiting process was a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Uh, it really took a toll on my mom and I. We would sit down in her bedroom and we would have, I mean, lists and lists and lists of all the different schools being Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. And when I tell you, we had a template, we wrote down, like, this is me, this is what I've done, this is what I'm looking for. And we tried to personalize it to each school. We would send it out. I think I sent over 200 emails out. I'm not even kidding. And it was like, you see all these websites that are like, oh, sign up for a recruiting thing, like NCSA and be recruited. No, we tried a little bit the free trials, but we're like, no, we'll just keep sending these emails out. And eventually I end up getting an email from Tennessee State, and they offered me, I want to say, an 80% scholarship, and
Okay.
it was really nice to, see that like someone wanted me. So um, I ended up getting a few different offers, but ultimately choosing Tennessee State just because it was still something to where I could go home back and forth. Um, and getting to play more so year round, and I just love the city. I mean, if something were to happen, if I were to be injured, I'm in a, well populated city for things to do, and just the school itself seemed like it had a really good program. I initially went in for an art degree and ended up changing that quickly, but it was just all around. I saw a really good opportunity for me to play consistently, not so much ride the bench, but also to get better. And when I was there, though, quickly on, I realized, I mean, right before Thanksgiving, that the program as far as golf was not what I initially thought nor wanted. So I made the decision that I needed to transfer. I wanted to be on a team where it was going to be a lot more challenging, to where I needed to work hard to make the traveling team. I didn't want to be someone that was just, I could kind of half-ass it and make the team still. And I wanted to get better. I wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to get my scoring average down. So that's the ultimate reason why I ended up transferring.
Yeah, so tell me more about transferring. So after your freshman year, you transferred to Lamar University in
Yes.
Texas. I got to interview Janelle there, your coach. So yeah, what drew you to Lamar, and how was your time at Lamar from, sophomore year through senior year?
I loved Lamar. Funny story, Lamar actually was on my list before I went to Tennessee State, but on
Okay.
my visit there, the coach had told me, who was Jessica Stewart, that I didn't have I guess the numbers that she was wanting to see for her team. So to keep trying, and maybe later down the road. And I ended up shooting her an email just because I just remembered Lamar in the back of my head for some reason over and over. And sure enough, she ended up offering me a full ride scholarship. She saw the immense improvement that I was making at Tennessee State and thought, now you're ready. So it was something that I did not turn down at all. And my mom and I went on a lot of visits. I had a few different offers. We did a 2-day trip where I think we hit up like 6 or 7 different schools. But I just knew in the back of my head, I loved Lamar. I need to be there. It's
Nice.
a school that, despite being another 9 hours south from where I was at in Nashville, to be able to play all year round, to be able to have the opportunity to travel to different states, and to be under not just one, but 2 coaches that have a really extensive playing background, that has a lot of knowledge for the game and how to develop you as a player, it was something I could not pass down either. So,
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I really commend you. Yeah, you got rejected in the recruiting process by Lamar, and you went
mhm,
to Tennessee State, worked really hard, proved your
yes.
scores, and then got a scholarship after your freshman year to Lamar. So definitely commend you for working hard to be able to attend Lamar. So as a sophomore, what did it mean to you to be named the Southland Conference Newcomer of the Year? And also, what did it mean to you to earn all Southland Conference honorable mentions?
It was actually something I didn't even know was a thing until I ended up getting the award, and it just kind of solidified the fact that I work hard for, for the goals that I'm wanting to achieve. It's not something that's just handed to me, and in life growing up, it kind of just reflected how I had to work hard from being a not very good player with a really bad swing as a junior to developing a respectable score to get into, or scoring average to get into Tennessee State, and to continuously work hard with making history at school, with being the first to state, as well as getting to transfer to Lamar. So to have those 2 awards just solidified the fact that hard work does pay off, and that you just got to keep going no matter what people tell you.
Yeah. So now currently you are pursuing a second Bachelor of Science in PGA Golf Management at Florida Gulf Coast University, and then you're also an aspiring PGA professional. So tell me about pursuing this Bachelor of Science, and also your aspiration to become a PGA professional.
Yeah, so I initially, going into college, was not really sure where I wanted to go with a degree. And I always kind of knew in the back of my head PGA Golf Management was a thing. So I kind of him and hawed over it, but I initially told myself playing collegiately was my number one priority. PGA Golf Management will always be there. And after I finished at Lamar, I knew like that's what I want to do. If I want to have a career in broadcasting, maybe having a degree in PGA Golf Management will help leverage me above competition in the golf industry itself. Granted, although that is not the case, so it's not what I thought it was going to be as I'm going through the process now. I was very lucky to be one of the few, I guess they call them cohorts, that could do an advanced program through the PGA of America. So instead of doing the 4.5, 5 years, I'm going to be finishing it in 3. Although it's very driven towards the business side and kind of becoming a head professional or instructor. So not so much on like that communication side, although I will say with the program, the networking that we are given and provided with is huge. So I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunities for networking. And that's something that I'm going to be taking away with when I graduate.
Yes. So what did it mean to you to be the 2023 Ron Balicki Scholarship Recipient?
That was huge. I didn't even know that scholarship was a thing.
Okay.
Sounds like I'm blindsided by a lot, but I was working with a company called OUTLYR, which is a management group that puts on the different PGA and LPGA events. So they run the Chubb Classic, what's now the Annika, and then a few other throughout the country. And one day when I was working the Chubb Classic, a gentleman who is a very well author, and I can't think of where he works, but his name's Jeff Babineau. He came up to me and was like, I want you to apply for the scholarship. I've seen some of the work you've done, and I think this would be a good opportunity for you. And he told me I had 2 days to submit the scholarship because the deadline was literally in 2 days. And I kind of dropped everything that I was doing school-wise and submitted all my pieces that I had and a bunch of letters of recommendations that I've been collecting throughout the years. And I was walking through a Publix, and I got the phone call and I started crying on the spot because something that I didn't really know was going to help me ended up paying for the rest of my school. And I was kind of in the situation of, was the PGA management program worth it to me or not? Because I was kind of sitting in this like, I wish I would have dropped it. No, it's going to benefit me. I'm halfway through, just finish it kind of weird position. And getting that scholarship, it just solidified it. Like, you can finish it now, no regrets. It got all paid for. You can take the burden off everyone. So it was, I mean, I was bawling. I couldn't contain my emotions. It was so exciting.
Well, I don't, well, you say you couldn't believe that were the recipient, but I think it's, you definitely deserved it. So I definitely want to, now talk about all of you, done and all of you've covered in golf. So yeah,
Yeah.
talk more about working with OUTLYR Agency, where you covered the LPGA tournament, the Annika, and you also covered the Chubb Classic.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to fall into a position where I'm able to work with OUTLYR. It started with a little introduction on LinkedIn, truthfully, and I ended up joining the Perfect Game Foundation, which merges athletes and communications to help you find like a job internship, sort of say. And Jeremy Friedman, who works at OUTLYR, took a huge chance on me and invited me up to the Pelican, which is now the Annika.
Okay.
And I've been now with them for 2 years, and this will be the Chubb this year, will be my 4th event with them. And I mean, just the opportunities that I've been having there is a little bit of an internship, a little bit of shadowing, and a little bit of freelancing. So I've been able to get different assignments, but then run around and go do kind of my own thing and to build my portfolio while gaining a lot of experience from declarated journalists, PR, assistants, PR directors, the whole 9 yards, and just kind of see the ins and outs of these tournaments. It's been an amazing experience.
Yeah, so when you're covering something like the Annika or the Chubb Classic, just tell me, what do you do? Do you write stories? Do you conduct interviews? Do you do all of that? Tell me a little bit about what you do when you cover these tournaments.
Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything. So my main priority is when I go in for the day, I sit down with Jeremy. Jeremy either asks me, hey, do you have any ideas on a story that you want to write for an article? Or he says, I have something for you. I want you to go chase it today. And when I go and do that, I go get interviews with either players, different types of sponsors, just fans in general. It really just depends on the angle of the story for that day. And I'll come back after getting maybe some photos, the different interviews, and I'll write my story. After that, I'm kind of free to do what I please. So I'll take up a lot of opportunity doing photography and some videography, just to kind of help work on different types of the multimedia journalism, so I can have like a Rolodex of experience. but a lot of it is more so writing, but we're dabbling in other areas. So we're trying to do it all.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're also an intern, an operations and media intern with the All Pro Tour and the Women's All Pro Tour in the summer of 2022.
Yes.
So tell me more about, working with these two tours and your role as operations and media intern.
So going on, I was pretty much an operations intern. I did a little bit of media, not as much as I'd like to, but my internship at the time was more so the operations. And, that was a unique experience. I was not prepared at all for what that was going to entail. I knew a
Okay.
little bit, but I didn't understand the amount of traveling you do and how intense it is. So it was, you'd wake up on a Sunday and you'd travel and then you'd go set up for an event, but then you'd have a week of setup. You'd have, your 4 days of play. You had 2 different pro-ams. I mean, it was go, 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 go. It was definitely interesting, but I loved it. It was something that people don't really get to say that they do, and just to be able to be surrounded by a bunch of different players who are chasing their dream to go professional is inspiring. So I definitely got burnt out my senior year at Lamar and didn't really, want to pick up a golf club. But being surrounded by other athletes that's what they're doing, it's like, oh God, I missed that. So definitely get to pick a lot of people's brains as well as kind of set the courses up and make it difficult for them. Or it was just kind of like a, give or take and a lot of learning
Yeah.
in multiple different ways. So it was a lot of fun.
And I'm not sure about the All Pro Tour, but I know with the Women's All Pro Tour, because I've gotten to interview a couple of the players on that tour. The tournaments are mostly in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. Is that correct?
Yep.
So in that area, did you stay down there for that summer? Or one
Yes,
of
so
those
I wanna
areas?
say the summer I was with them was of 22.
Mhm.
So we did a lot of Arkansas, Texas. I don't think I did Louisiana.
Okay.
Uh, we did Kansas, Oklahoma. So it was kinda like that sequence all
Okay.
around. I took the men most of the time because they ended up being down a person, so I went from the women's side to the men's side.
Okay.
But, there was, I wanna say, 2 events where it was like a combined men and women event. So the men would play one course one day, the women play the other, and then they flip flop it.
Okay. Cool.
Uh, a lot of overlapping.
Nice. Yeah, so how did you end up covering media content at the Arnold Palmer Cup for the Golf Coach of America Association in Pennsylvania? And what was that experience like getting to cover the Arnold Palmer Cup?
So the Arnold Palmer Cup was a hidden addition to the Ron Balicki Scholarship. It's something
Okay.
that they did not tell anyone in like any forums that, not only winning the scholarship, you would get this as well. So it was a phone call maybe 2 months later that they were like, hey, just to let you know, in addition to your scholarship, you'll be out here covering media for this event with the GCAA. And I couldn't believe it. I was at work and I couldn't shut up about it. I was like, I get to go out to Pennsylvania, never been there, let alone Mr. Palmer's hometown. So
Mhm.
when we got out there, I was overwhelmed at the amount of Nike boxes and how we got to work right away. It was a lot of setup, a lot of moving parts, but it was really cool to see how one thing can affect another, but then with the team, how everything can get done and handled. So from the business side to the golf side to the operations to the media, it was like a huge puzzle that you got to see the pieces kind of fall into place. So it was really cool. And my job out there, I got to help with all the background stuff, not so much any course setup because that's all done with the course and um, like the GMs and all that kind of stuff. But for media and all like the player packages, we got to do a lot of that. And it was just insane. I never would have expected this much work to go into, let alone an amateur event. So it was really cool.
Yeah, so tell me more about the Arnold Palmer Cup. So I believe it's teams, the United States and the international team, and they consist of, what is it, 12 men and 12 women? Is that
I believe
correct?
so, yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. We got to so myself and then they have another media gentleman, his name's Alex Galeman. He got to show me the ropes because he's been to a few different ones. He was the recipient the year prior. But we would pretty much just grab our SD cards and our camera bags and we just go out shooting. I mean, anything under the sun. We had one day a task of taking a photo of the trophy because all the courses have a tradition of getting a photo of the trophy on their course. So, I mean, I think we spent like 2 hours trying to figure out the best location for this, trying to figure out the best sunset, sunrise. It was just insane, just the amount of stuff that we got to do and got to see like the schools utilize our stuff. So, it was really cool.
Yeah, I'm seeing they have a whole article on their website just dedicated to the trophy. So I never thought a
Mhm.
trophy could be that popular, but it definitely is for this
Yeah,
tournament.
I never thought either, but I guess it is.
Cool. So tell me how you became the PGA Golf Management Programs tournament director, and also how you got on the 22-23 PGMSA board.
So for me, it was really just a nomination.
Okay.
Starting out, it was anyone could really join a committee. So I did a little bit of social media, but we didn't really have any developed media page at the time. So I ended up dropping that. Although with dropping that, I thought it would be really fun to get into the tournament side because initially I wanted to maybe run my own tour because I could do my own media that way. So I decided be maybe just helping out would be a good route, but as I saw how it was ran, I'm like, "Oh, I could do this." So I applied to be, the tournament director, ended up winning, a vote for that, so I was co-tournament director with another gentleman,
Okay.
and, for the time being, it was a lot of fun, but unfortunately, that summer, I decided that this was something that I couldn't continue on just with my schoolwork and needing to make sure that I was able to successfully complete my degree without, get falling behind per se. Just because of all the transferring credits that I had, I didn't wanna jeopardize it because I didn't wanna be in school any longer than I have to.
So also talk about working with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness team, and what you did for
Mhm.
the Orange Whip team.
Yeah, so, that came full circle. My golf coach, when I was little, put an orange whip in my hand and told me
Okay.
that that would be something that would help me develop swing speed and distance. And later down the road, when I was looking for internships, an opportunity came about where I could go and help film some content with two gentlemen up in the Punta Gorda area for the Orange Whip. I guess you could say devices. And I thought it was kind of interesting because they didn't assume anyone really knew what it was unless, someone introduced them to it. But after some conversations, I'm like, oh no, I have like six of these, back at home. My grandpa uses it. I use them. We have all this different stuff. And it kind of opened a door to become an intern with them. So I ended up leaving where I was working and coming to work full time with them. And I got to go to a few different places that I've never been before and do some different what do they call them? It's kind of like the PGA show, but for the consumers, so not for like professionals and businesses. So kind of like a selling fair. I don't know what you'd call it, but we got to do a lot of those and go to a bunch of different events and try to promote the products and try to sell to a bunch of instructors and golf courses. So it's been a lot of fun and developing content along the way. So it's been cool.
Nice. Something else that was probably very special for you was in 2022, your article for the U.S. Women's Mid Amateur got published by Golf Week. So yeah, what was it like for your article to get published by Golf Week?
I thought it was amazing. I started with the news press as a football reporter, and I told them very transparently that I am not a very good football reporter, let alone football fan. So I might
Okay.
struggle, but I want to learn different avenues because I know that, if you want to be in the sports industry, you kind of have to know more than just one sport. And it was not good. It was ugly, I will admit. My boss was telling me like you need to put a lot more effort into this. I need more details and I told him just let me try golf. I can do golf. I promise you. And he's like, all right, there's a tournament happening over at Fiddlesticks. If you can be there, let's see what article you can write. And sure enough, that article ended up getting published in Golf Week. And I was like, I told you I'm a golfer. I'm not a football player. And it just kind of solidified the moment for me that this is something that I could pursue as a career because I put a lot more passion into my writing for golf than I did football. So you could definitely see the night and day difference. And um, having that published it was amazing. I have it printed out and hanging up, so it was really cool.
Nice. So you said you're not much of a football fan, but do you follow like any NFL teams or anything like that?
I stay up to date on, the trends that are happening, but I couldn't tell you who all these different players are, what different moves are happening on the field. So Definitely a bandwagon fan.
Oh, so you're not a Chicago Bears fan, being from Illinois?
No, I used to watch it growing up with my grandpa just because you'd have it on Sundays, and we watched the Bears, we watched the Packers, so I
Okay,
can't really say I'm a fan of either.
okay, that's cool.
I don't want someone to ask me crazy questions and I can't answer it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you've done a lot. You've covered, a lot of tournaments, and players. So, what have been some of your favorite stories or players that you've done to cover?
Ooh, I would say a lot of it would have to be the events with OUTLYR. The media days is probably my favorite because I get to get personal with different players. So last year it was Brittany Lincecum and Lexi Thompson that I got to talk with and have real in-depth interview conversations with them, and just got to have lunch, and they're real people, so it's not like it's just a celebrity sitting next to you. Um, and then this past year we had a player from, I want to say it was South Carolina, Luis, and then Elizabeth Sokol and Annika Sorenstam, and then there was one other lady that I cannot remember her name, but once again, it was just getting to have in-depth conversations with them about how they're preparing, what they're looking forward to. So instead of trying to chase down a professional on the course, or moving from one interview to the next, it was more personable, and it was something that definitely will sit with me a long time, because it's like Annika Sorenstam. Who would have thought I got to have a conversation with her, or get to work with
Yeah,
her and her team for a day, and plus some for the event. So it's really cool.
nice. So when you're covering tournaments, like the Annika or the Chubb Classic, when players do like their, press conferences, pre-tournament or post-round, do you get to sit in for those?
Yes, so there's a few different types that they have. The
Okay,
ones on media day are where we bring in a player that usually is by themselves, or they're sitting in with the owners of the golf club or the head professionals. So there's already kind of like a story that's being driven, I guess you could say, that they're answering a lot of questions too. But we also will have the floor open up to where we can ask questions for like our articles. And then they have the press conference after they're done playing. If it's like a player that's making waves on the course or did something special, they'll pull them to the side and do a quick interview with them on a backdrop. And
okay,
then for specific players as well, during tournament week, um, they'll pull them to, we do it in like a bay, for like a hitting bay, and we have all the cameras set up there, so it's a little more private. And we did one with Stacey Lewis, talking about the Solheim Cup with her, and what she's looking forward to since she'll be the captain again. And it's just, they're all kind of driven differently, but they're all there, and we get to attend all of them, which is cool.
yeah, I got to attend two LPGA tournaments this year, the KPMG Women's PGA and the Mizuho America's Open. It's the first year they had it at Liberty National, and that was Rose Zhang, she won, and it was her professional debut. And yeah, speaking of media, the media was just flocking to her after every round. She had to go, answer all these questions, do
Yep.
interviews and all that, and
It's amazing.
especially she
Because I
won.
know Nelly Corda, my first year with OUTLYR, there was a little girl wanting an autograph, and she's trying to sign, but we're pulling her over to one thing because we need to go get her before a certain time, because that's when it's going to air, and it's just like they're pulled
Yeah,
in 6,000 different directions. So I
yeah,
definitely feel for them.
yeah. So just being, you're so, young and new in your career, but you've accomplished so much. So, what are some goals or plans that you have for your career? Like in, 5 years, do you have like a 5-year plan where you see yourself, with your, media career?
If you would have asked me that a few months ago, I would have said this is my goal, but now I have no idea. I don't really know what direction I want to go. I definitely want to stay in the media content creating realm and directed towards golf, but I don't know where that is going to take me, let alone what company, what type of job. So I'm open to all opportunities that are going to come my way, and I just kind of hope to start from the bottom and work my way up and prove myself worthy of different positions, and just to continue to create. So that's why I'm starting my own I guess, media page on Instagram, to kind of have like a portfolio to where I can debut my work. That's not a website where people need, a link to go to. But really just about continuing to create, continue to work on my tools and what I can do, and hopefully it takes me somewhere.